G'day guys, welcome back to Wombat Gaming. We've got a huge update. Well, it's the biggest update we've had so far for a Bellwright. It just dropped today and has some pretty good features in it. Now, this update is not a regular update. You have to opt in for this one on the Steam page. So if you're wanting the information in regards on how to do that, you will need to head over to the Discord group for Bellwright and all the instructions on how to get this update up and running. It does warn you to save your game. It is a being tested update. So far I haven't come across any real major issues with this particular update, which has been fairly good. Just a few things that aren't working, but not in a major way. So let's get into what they are anyway. Let's start with a new building. We have a new building. You can see it sitting behind me. It's called the Forester. This can be found in the tech tree under the tier 2 section. And it is in the kind of lumber mill kind of section. So you got the lumberjack, and just above that you're going to have the forester. So the forester building enables your NPCs or villagers to replant trees. Now you can see I've got a couple of saplings growing here. What you do need is you do need fertilizer. Now the fertilizer's already gone into these ones. The villagers already put it in there. But the hardest thing with this one is finding tree saplings. Now they take a long time to grow too. I don't know what the time is, but I did put these in about 15 minutes ago, I think, my time, not game time. And you can see there, it's probably about 1/8 of the way through. So it could take a couple of days, which I guess, you're growing trees. It makes sense, I guess. And then I guess when they get to their full height or whatever it is, they can be planted back into the forest around you. So I'm not sure how it works out, how many, but you can see in the manage tab I've got logs and hardwood here. So essentially I guess I can grow or plant both back into this area. As you can see, this logging facility has just desolated this whole area. There isn't a tree. It used to be all forest up here, so we've just got some saplings around, and that's about it. Now to get the seeds, and this is an important little fact, to be planted in here, you have I think it's they've got some guys on Discord where it's a 3% chance of getting them through when you pick saplings. So saplings are these. That's when you harvest them. You can see just a piece of wood. I'm not getting any seeds from this at all. So the easiest way to get seeds is to head to, I'll show you in a second. We'll just have a few more goes because there's a few saplings around here. We'll just see if we can get any at all. All right, well we did 5 or 6 just then, and not one seed. We'll see if there's any more around here. No, there's a tree. It's too big as a tree as well. All right, so yeah, you can get the idea, but it is a 3% drop chance, so not the best drop chance from doing it yourself. And as far as I'm aware, villagers, correct me if I'm wrong, do not collect saplings at this stage. There's no way of actually getting them to collect saplings, so it's something you'd have to do manually. So let's show you how you get the seeds, and this is the easiest way. You're going to have to buy them, so we'll head there now and I'll show you where a couple of places you can get them. All right guys, so the locations for seeds are going to be at herbalists, so you just have a look at, have a chat to this one.
There. I hope you're enjoying the beauty.
And just go to the buy option, and you should find tree seeds in here. You can see there you go, got tree seeds. I can buy 5. So we buy all 5 of those at 30 gold each. And yeah, that's pretty much the only way to get them at this stage is through the herbalists that I've found. There are a few scattered around the map. So the closest ones to the starting area would be just in here. There's this hut here, and that's a herbalist. And then I guess just north of Padstow, where I am at the moment, it's this stuff, the family farm, whatever it's called. That is a herbalist as well. And I think there might be one up in the hills, yeah, over here. So there's another one here. That's kind of, scroll out a little bit further, sort of like east, I guess, southeast, I guess you could say, of Padstow. So up in the hill, there are a few of them around. There's another one over here near Bradford, just to the west of Bradford. And you can see there's another herbalist there. So you should be able to pick up about 5 seeds, I guess, each time you visit them. And that's probably the only way and the best way to get them at this stage. So it looks like that particular growing of seeds is quite slow. So we'll head back there to just have a look and see how those seeds are going and see whether they're near being able to plant. We'll keep an eye on them, and we'll cover some more things in the update as well. Okay, we had a night of sleep just to see how these saplings would go, but you can see it's just shy of a day in game, so they're looking like the tree saplings probably take a couple of game days to actually grow. And I've put the other sapling seeds in here, and this morning you can see they haven't moved much at all. But it does take a while, so I'll continue with the updates and tell you what's going on, and we'll come back here later and see how these tree saplings are actually going. Okay guys, the next item we have in the new category is going to be the staging ground, and I'll put that alongside the food bag as well. These are two new things that have been introduced that you're going to have to research.
No backing down now.
We have a look in the research tree. We can see that in tier, where is it, tier over here, we can see the food bag tier 2. So you do need the weaver's hut in order to get this. So the food bag, and it enables them to carry 3 pieces of food. So we'll have a look at that as well. And then we have the staging ground, which is a military kind of flag, and I'm trying to find that on the, here it is here in stage 2. So you will need the weapon rack to be able to have this. Now the staging ground is supposed to work according to the notes. By adding the staging ground, players can be assigned to that area, and they'll fill up on nearby storage and wait there for further instructions. So by giving them the food bag, we'll have a look at this. We'll show you what the food bag is. It's this here. It's essentially, you can see if I put it into here, it gives you these 3 slots for food. She has nothing at the moment. So let's give it a test. We'll move her into the staging ground. I've built one just here, and she has run off the wrong way, which is interesting. We'll see what happens. Oh, she's gone to the apiary for some reason. I just want to see what she's actually picked up there. We'll quickly just grab her for a second. She grabbed nothing, which is kind of strange. All right, well, we'll see where she's going, where she's supposed to now, which is to the food cellar. And this is I've noticed this I've tested this a couple of times. They do get stuck here. So this is the problem with it at the moment. So it's still in testing. Hopefully they will fix this, but I assume they're supposed to come back to this staging area. And you can see that she's not. She's sort of stuck over here. But let's go and see what she actually picked up. We had this sort of food in here. We had some meat stews and smoked meat and some basic other stuff. So she hopefully picked up the good stuff.
No backing down now.
Well, okay, so it's interesting. If you have a look at her, she consumed honey. So she went straight to the apiary, took the honey out, and then she went back over to here and picked up
what we're made of.
a meat stew, another meat stew, and a piece of smoked meat. So that worked well, but she didn't, unfortunately, go there, and I can't get her to move now unless I pull her out. Let's try again. Nope. So this here is probably a little glitched. It's a little bit buggy. I would assume that you wouldn't want them all standing around the food cellar. This is what they call the staging area. So in theory it kind of works, but once they've gotten their food, you will probably need to bring them back out until they fix this, I'd say. So yeah, so that's the staging ground and the food bag. All right, they're the main things that are items that have been, or buildings that have been introduced into the game. So there are some other improvements which we can talk about. I will link all this below. There is a Steam link page for all this information as well, and the instructions on how to actually enable this on your game as well, which I'll put below as well. But they have improved some of the quests in regards to Lord Ashbourne, if you meet him too early, things like that. So they have fixed quite a few things. They've fixed some wooden walkways and some NPC problems where, so they're running a lot smoother in regards to navigation and stuff as well. They've also theoretically improved the bakery, which is really good too. So the bakery now, which is, I've got over here, I've got a mill and a bakery. Let's have a look at them in a second. It's just easier to open up the map and click on it. So now the bakery, if you load in, I'm still having trouble getting someone to actually go in there and bake, which is interesting. So we are getting some of this, but if you have a look at statistics, so today we've gotten 3 berry bread, which is a lot better than what we've had in the previous. And then yesterday we ended up with 9 berry bread. So, which is interesting because I have berry bread set at 3 maximum. But if they are eating it, I guess they're, even though it is at the bottom, I did put honey cakes up the top. So I do usually have all these ingredients too, especially bread. It should go in order. So I think this particular bakery is still a little broken and needs to be fixed. Now the windmill seems to be working a little bit better, but I think it is still broken. You can see there's someone over there working. But when you click on the actual building, the windmill doesn't spin anymore too. This is another issue, but it looks. So let's open up that, actually the map again, probably easier. And then you can see there's actually someone working. Well, it says they're idle actually, so interestingly, oh well, they're in there now. So, yeah, so this is working. The flour side is producing a lot more flour. Although there are some things that you need to take into account in regards to the bread now, is that flour takes, have increased from 1 to 5. But the actual grain needed is gone from 3 to 6, so you will need more grain, which in all honesty is not a problem. Getting grain is super easy once you have a farm set up like this. These gardens produce plenty. We've got one down the back there that produces grain, and I have so much grain it isn't funny. So that's not an issue. It's more about the amount of flour that was producing before was not enough. And also the bakery, they've improved the amount of things that are coming out of the bakery. Well, hopefully that will improve, because let's have a look at it again. The statistics yesterday, you can see we just got the 9 berry bread. I have run this for a couple of days now with the new update. And again, it seems to just be making berry bread for me, which I have down the bottom. And I do have all these other ingredients available. You can see they're all available on the left-hand side there. So unless I just go ahead and delete the berry bread and try with something else, which maybe I will do. I do like the berry bread though, it gives you really good stamina. But berry scones, I've got ingredients for them. It's not making them either. Bread's not making them either. So I will delete the berry bread to see what happens. But I think there is still some working to be done on the bakery. They have changed the windmill worker job category from cooking to crafting, which makes a lot of sense as well. And they have made the wheat category from food ration to resource, which makes a lot more sense as well. So that's going to be handled by a different, not like a cook anymore. It's going to be, the windmill's going to be a crafting, which is going to be good, and all your resources like the wheat will go into just a normal storage now and not into the food area, which is going to be good as well. They did fix some decorations on the windmill. I didn't notice any major differences, but looks pretty good to me. It's just that the windmill doesn't spin anymore, which is a bit of a shame because it did look pretty cool when it was being used. It did spin. Okay, some other things that they did add to certain buildings. The warehouse now stores up to from 2,500 to 6,500, which is a big improvement. I still think all the storage in the game is too small. It gets filled up way too easy, especially when you hit here, especially tier 3. I found that you know, the 8 or 9 different barns and 2 warehouses that I had were just filling up way too quickly. So that is a good improvement. They have also added the NPC capacity on the big house from 5 to 7, so there's a little bit more room there. It is a very large house. It's so big that I haven't even bothered to try and build one yet. I'm just using the normal tier 2 houses because it is quite a big one. But now that you can get those 7 into one, I think it makes it a bit better. Foraging racks on the foraging lodge. They've added 4 more apparently. I haven't built one of those yet. I don't think I have anyway. I'm still using the old tier 2 foraging one over here. So what's that one? That's the foraging hut. Yeah, so I'm still haven't bothered to build the bigger one yet. I'm finding I'm getting enough resources at the moment. Although the tier 3 foraging system is a wider area, so it probably would come in handy. To be honest. They've also moved the apiary from a tier 2 to tier 3 because there really wasn't any point in having it in the tier 2. This particular building here is giving you honey, so it's only really can be used in tier 3 anyway, so that's something they've moved. They've also increased the stage requirements for honey from 3 to 5, which to be honest is not an issue. Once you've got, like I said, a garden running, you can get plenty of sage. They've also fixed a few other things like cured rope and things like that. What is it, in the cold burner, the recipe to fix the resin deadlock. So we were having problems with getting a resin. So we'll run over here and have a look at that. I've got a couple of these cranking at the moment. So yeah, have a look. Resin just requires hardwood, so I'm not really sure. Although we do have 2 types of charcoal in here, which is good to see. So we can make charcoal now from hardwood, which is kind of good. So before we couldn't do that, but I wouldn't be wasting, unless you've got a lot of hardwood, which I actually do. You could, now you can do hardwood in here, which is kind of cool as well. Okay, so coming back to the cured rope, with a rope in the cold burner, I'm guessing they mean in regards to researching it. So before you needed cured rope to research that, if I can remember rightly. Now they've replaced it with just normal rope, which is good. So they've removed a fast travel from the town hall. That was experimental apparently. I actually didn't know that was there, so can't use that in this new update. And they've fixed some various navigation issues with tier 3 buildings with NPs getting stuck. I've had that a few problems on my game as well, especially the Tanners, which is down in here. Always, when everyone was off to bed, my Tanner would always get stuck on that particular rack just there, so that's good. They're not getting stuck there anymore. Let's get this person back to doing some work. Yeah, so that's pretty much like the major stuff. So there's a number of other fixes regards to icons and buildings floating, fences and things like that. So those sorts of things are going to come in handy, that's for sure. There are a number of gameplay improvements, which is pretty good. They have increased the spoilage time for food, so that doesn't regrow. So this includes meats and the cooked dishes, special raw foods and things like that. So they will now spoil slower, which is kind of handy. And having the food bag on you too, this seems to keep food longer. It does still drop down, but I have noticed that the food does last longer in this food bag, which is kind of handy as well. Yeah, they've moved the metal helmets that were crafted in a weaver hut to the toolmaker, which kind of makes sense, to be honest. And they've removed and adjusted the NPC professions required for researching tier 2 equipment in Toolmaker and the Weaver Hut too, so made it a little bit easier by the sounds to do those sorts of things. And they've added a couple of things for combat, which is kind of cool for the two-handed weapons, which I don't tend to use. It is a strength issue for my character. I'm focused on archery. I am starting to build those things up now. But they do have a down a block animation for two-handed. And they've also increased the size and the duration of blood particles, which I guess in fighting. So it'll be interesting to see how that works as well. We also have some really good features in regards to, they've actually fixed some wording to make it really easy for you guys to now transfer broken items back, and I'll show you how that works. If you go into your settlement tab and you go to deliveries, so my main settlement is here, and now when I want to recall broken things from a settlement, say the granite iron, I can now look up the broken sturdy pickaxe, which is kind of handy. So if you're looking in the broken now, you can see there are a number of broken items that you can search for. The tools is going to be the most prominent one, so broken rugged axes if you've got rugged axes at my hardwood outpost. Also, broken pickaxes where they're mining, copper, etc. Broken shovels in my swamp when they're trying to collect peat. All those things can now be seen very easily, whereas before it purely had just 2 descriptions for, say, sturdy pickaxe, and you had to pick the bottom one. Now you know for sure that you have corrected that and selected the right one, which is kind of handy, I think. All right, well, there are lots of other little things that have been fixed or made made better in there. The notes are quite lengthy. There's a few various fixes as well, and some other smaller things. I just tried to highlight the bigger things that you guys would be looking for in this update. Let us know what you think of the update. Were you happy or disappointed with the amount of things that they released? I think there was a lot of content in this update. It's a shame a couple of things aren't working, but like I said, it isn't an official update. This one you have to opt in. It's more like a testing update. They wanted to get it out so we could test it and make sure these things are working. So there might be more things coming in the official update. Who knows, those long awaited roads might be coming. But I think the big one for me is fixing the food issues. They just need to get this working. I'm not sure why this rally points is not working like it should. Having your cellar nearby to your rally point and like a little open field like this makes sense. And if they did actually, once you put a food pouch on them, this particular food bag, putting food into that is going to help that food last longer, which is going to be super handy if you're marching troops. So can't wait to test that one out as well, see how far I can march my troops without them needing food. And yeah, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks again, guys.
We'll conquer the virtual